Hey guys, it's Kelsey, your best friend on the homestead from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm going to be talking to you about mason jar vacuum sealers, and this one that I got and tried out. They're pretty cool, even if you don't live on a homestead. If you have food in your house at all that you're trying to keep fresh, these things are pretty slick, and I'm going to show you how to use it and tell you all the pros about this nifty little device. As you can see here in the video, I have a mason jar full of dehydrated apple chips. The one thing, I love making apple chips, but when you put them in a jar by the next day, they're kind of soggy. They've lost their crispness. Let me tell you, with this little thing, I did a few half-gallon size mason jars, and it's been over a month, and I just checked on them. They're still crisp. They still snap when you take them out of the jar, which is incredible. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. I just got, like you maybe have before too, a barrage of ads for these darn mason jar vacuum sealers, and so I thought, all right, well, maybe I'll give it a try. The most popular brand that I've seen around is the Everjar one. I didn't get the Everjar brand. It was even on sale. It's like $50 or something, and it's also one that pretty much always seems like it's on sale, which I always think is a little suspicious. Why is it constantly on sale? Is that actually what the price is, or you're just trying to make it look like it's really $119 or whatever? So I didn't get the Everjar. It's around 50 some dollars. This one, I can't remember the brand. I'll put it down here. I got it on Amazon. It was $23, shipping included, of course, because we do Prime, and it works great. So I wouldn't necessarily feel like you need to get the Everjar or a more expensive one. This one worked fine. So let me show you what is all involved here. So it comes with this little gadget. This is basically the bulk of what it is. And then it also has an attachment that can go on the bottom. I believe this way. I don't use the attachment very often. So this wider base is what you use for a wide mouth mason jar. And then you can put this on. I think it just twists on somehow, fairly simply. Like I said, I haven't done this part before. Anyway, this part twists on, and this one locks into place, and then you have a regular mouth size. So it comes with that. It comes with a charging cord, because this is, it's just got like a micro USB type plug, and so it just charges in, plugs into your wall and charges. And it also came with just a little stack of mason jar lids. So the cool thing about this is it vacuum seals food in your mason jar. You can use it for dried stuff. So if you're a big kind of bulk buyer and you have a lot of dried stuff you're trying to keep fresh, if you do a lot of snacky stuff or cereal, things like that, I could definitely see this being used. I'm going to show you here when I actually show you how to use it. I use it for apple chips. I'm also going to be reorganizing my dried herbs stash for kind of medicinal, body care herbs and things like that. I'm going to be vacuum sealing in my jars, keep those herbs fresher for longer. So it's got a lot of really cool uses, I think, and you can use it for fresh things as well. So like salad mixes is something you can use to try and keep it fresher longer, fruits, veggies, everything where you're sucking out that oxygen and keeping it maintained for longer. So it will work on any type of mason style jar. It doesn't have to be actually Ball brand. It can be, is it Care or Kerr? I've never known, Kerr. Any sort of legit mason jar where your typical sort of mason jar lid will fit. And you can absolutely reuse your lids. I still like to use a fresh ringed lid, not one that has been actually canned before, but a fresh one, and it seals great every time. So let me show you how you use this thing. So with this model, you put your lid on. I always recommend just kind of wiping down the top, but I've never had a problem with a seal. You put the lid on, the mason jar lid on, you press the sealer on firmly, and then for this model, you press the button and you let it go 40 seconds. You press the power button again and it turns off. You take it off and you're done. It's really slick and simple. 40 seconds and it's sealed up. So I just used this the other day too for making, I made homemade kind of Cheez-It type crackers. And again, those sort of crackers type things that you would make get sort of soggy, usually within a day or two, if you put them in a plastic bag or something. Not when you use this thing. It's really very cool. I like it a lot. A couple more things about this little rig is how long does the charge last? So it took me, was it maybe an hour, hour and a half for it to charge completely. When it came, it actually had a 70% charge, which was really cool, because normally you get these things, you gotta let them charge for 5 hours before you can use them. This one was ready to go, and every time I use it, it takes about 2% of the battery. And so if you figure 100% charge, that means you get 50 seals with this thing before you have to charge it again. So I've charged it the one time that I got it. I have used it many times since then. I mean, I will use it multiple times a day. You know, the kids want apple chips or more of their cheese crackers or something, and after I think we're kind of done eating them, I'll put the lid back on, I'll seal up, and 5 minutes later they want cheese crackers again, whatever. I'll pop it off. And here I'll play, hopefully, I know the kids were kind of running around crazy when I recorded this, but you can hopefully hear the actual like sort of sound of the mason jar lid opening after it was sealed. The things that I really like about this that I've already talked about, you can reuse the lids, you can obviously reuse your jars, and that makes a big difference versus if you're using kind of a regular vacuum sealer where you're sealing it into those sort of bags that are made for it. You've got all that plastic waste, which I don't like. This, there's nothing, I mean, eventually this thing will stop working, I guess, and this will be garbage. But for now, the amount of waste that it is keeping out of, you know, the landfill and the amount of food waste it is also helping with by keeping things fresher longer is also pretty impressive, especially for just $23. One thing that's really important though that I do want to cover about this little device is it is not a replacement for actual food safe food preservation, if that makes sense. So this is not going to replace hot water bath canning. You can't make jelly jars and use this to seal the jars shut. It is, yes, it is sealing the jars, it's a vacuum sealing them, but the difference between, you know, hot water bath or pressure canning is that those are creating a certain amount of heat, which is going to kill any of that, you know, awful bacteria like that botulism that can get in there. When you heat it up, it's killing all those bacteria. This isn't doing any heating, it's just sucking out the oxygen. So while it's good for dry goods storage for long term, if you'd like, if you've got bulk storage of like sugars or salts or rice and beans, that type of stuff, this is a good option. Or if you're doing it for short-term food storage, like fresh foods, that's fine. But anything like pickles you're doing or canned tomatoes or anything like that, this is not appropriate for that. So don't think you can just sub this in for, that'd be pretty great, but that's not what this is for. So it's just for, as I said, long-term dry type storage or short-term fresh storage. I will link where I got this from. Again, it's from Amazon. I'll put my affiliate link down below in the description. So if you have any questions at all, let me know. Otherwise, I will share some of my other favorite food recipes that you might be interested if you're also into this sort of a thing. Otherwise, make sure you check back here next week for another video from our rough and tumble farmhouse.